So the purpose of this quick tutorial is to show how to take the AMA light fixture that we have, which comes by default with F1 through F16, and convert this to a project-specific light fixture type schedule. We have a project Fox where we were given a light fixture schedule. Okay, so the request came in and the schedule came in this format here, which is really all we need. We need the name, voltage, wattage, right? And this is designating per linear foot, but we don't need to configure anything. That's built into the length parameter.
With the preload, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
So the first thing I need to do here is to clear out the type from the name because we don't need that in the actual family type name. So I'm just going to do
left 5 or something like that.
And then I'm going to do length. That. Okay.
And by left, I mean right.
Okay, there we go. I'm just going to bring those down, copy them over, paste them in as
values.
Great. Okay, so this is going to be the base information that we need here. We got the fixture type, voltage, wattage. We're going to go back to Revit. We're going to take the light fixture family and edit. We're going to then, from here, export the family types.
Okay.
And that's going to say, okay, where do you want to export this to? I'm going to say my desktop, and we save the default format that it comes out in. All right.
Okay.
The next step is we're going to open that file in Excel. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Open, Browse, Desktop, and it's not shown here, so we just click the file formats to show all files. Click the TXT file that was exported, we click Open. It recognizes that it's a text file. We say that it's delimited. My data has headers.
Okay.
Click Next. It's going to be delimited by comma. And there's going to be, and you have to designate no text qualifiers. And that's important because of this blank column right here. It would add something in here that would mess with the whole formatting. And the family wouldn't be able to read it because it would stop at this first line because there'd be something here that we don't need. Okay? So comma, text qualifier.
No text qualifier.
Yep.
Okay.
And then from here, you can just click Finish. And here we go. So we get this in, and this comes with all the default values that were in the family to begin with. And what we want to do is just go back here and copy in the fixture types first. We don't want to preserve any of these. These are not for the project.
Right. They're going to be.
We're going to paste that in.
Okay.
Then we're going to go to the wattage, and we're going to take this. And in our particular family, we have a AMA. We have something called the preload. That's our wattage.
Yep.
So we're going to type that in there, and then the voltage we're going to take, and we also have a AMA voltage parameter that we need to type in.
It's at the end there, yeah.
Voltage. Okay. Now, what's important is we can't have any blank columns here. So I'm going to take these and just paste them down. These values are not really relevant to. This is like how bright things are, the low classifications.
Yep.
So they're all common, but these need to be filled in. Otherwise, once this goes back to a text, once this goes back to a text column, it'll be missing things, and things won't line up. All right. So from here, we're basically all done. What I want to make sure is another thing is that the length is set to 1 for all of these as the default instance parameter.
Yep.
All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this file and actually do a save as to the same location. And this is going to be changed to a CSV file.
Okay.
Okay. On my desktop. Same name, everything, and I click save. All done.
Okay.
I'm going to go to my desktop. And I'm going to take it won't. Come on. Okay. Now, what we need to do here is we need to then just rename this to a TXT file.
Okay, so it's still a CSV, but we're just calling it a text file.
Yep. And
Okay.
we're going to say yes. And I think this might, because, okay, so there's two things I think happening here. One, I already have something called TXT on my desktop.
Right.
So that won't be able to do that. So I'm going to delete that first. Then I need to close it out if I'm going to rename it. So I'm just going to close this guy out. And then we're going to rename it again to TXT. Yes, I'm sure. Okay, so now I have my TXT file.
And it's delimited by commas, which is what Revit wants.
So what I'm going to do is then I'm going to mimic a new project. And this is going to be our target project that we're going to load this into. And what's important is that here, when you load this family in, that we're going to go to the desktop. And what's important is that E-Light Fixture AMA on my desktop. There's two things. Let's go by name. Okay. These need to be the same name. The fixture type catalog that we created, this TXT file with all these parameters, has to be the same name as the family, and it has to live in the same folder.
Okay.
And my recommendation is once this whole configuration is complete, you copy or cut these to the project-specific folder, and we'll just take this project, for example. It'll go into Revit, it'll go into families, and then we'll have both of them living in here so that, one, we don't lose them, they're not on some user's random desktop, and two, we're not inadvertently writing over the AMA actual template version of that file.
Right.
Or upgrading it or whatever. So as soon as this whole process is done, I save them all into here.
Okay.
Into the project specific. And then if we need to make tweaks down the line, we can use those to update.
When you started, you started from the template to get the latest fixture file?
Exactly. I went into the template and I edited the fixture itself from the template.
So as long as we do it that way, we're always going to get the latest, most up-to-date lighting fixtures. Okay.
All right. So what I did was I created this fake project called Project 2.
Okay.
This is going to be whatever our destination target is, and then I'm loading it from the desktop. You would load it from that project-specific Revit families folder.
Okay.
Making sure that both the Revit family file and the Revit lookup type catalog are both next to each other. And when I click open, what you expect to see here, you need to get this window to pop up.
Right.
All right. Okay. And what this is going to do is it's basically going to be a confirmation that all the types that we want are here. We're going to look at the preload value to make sure that this is what I asked for. And we're going to go down to the AMA voltage and make sure that these are all in.
Okay.
And actually one last thing we should look at is the length.
Right.
Okay.
Are you able to edit from here, or is this just like a display?
No, this is just a read-only with some filters up here to say which one of these do I want. Now, right now I have DB highlighted. If I click OK, that would be the only one we would load in.
Okay.
So it's important that you select them all.
All right.
Then you click OK. It's going to say, hey, you're loading a lot of different types. Is that cool? And you say, absolutely. So they come in. And now I'll go down to families, light fixtures, and here we go. And you'll notice that I don't have any of the F1 through F16s here because I only loaded in the ones that were in that text file.
Now, when we start up a new project, like it's going to come in with the F1 to F16, right? But this will overwrite that?
No.
So I would have to like delete it from the project before I reload it or something?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. You will have to do that. So, yeah. Basically, let me think. I would just say delete it before you load in the new one.
Okay.
Or you could load it in. It would add all of these, and you would have the F1 through 16s, and you would just delete those types.
Okay.
Either way.
Which could be, what if there was, I would think it would be safer just to delete it outright because there's maybe the chance that, like, does it overwrite F1 if there's an F1 in the fixture schedule? Like, would it just replace the F1 that's there?
Yep.
Or would it do something weird like make an F1 too?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So it's
I think you're right.
safest.
Just better safe than sorry to delete the fixture altogether.
Okay.
Then you're going to do this, all right?
hmm
And then actually, let's talk about the next step, which is to do the type mapping while we're
Okay.
already recording this video. So the next thing that you want to do is, this is a precursor. You need to make sure that you have all your types in before
hmm
you can do your copy monitoring
Yep.
of the fixtures. Once you have these in, you're going to go to coordination setting. You're going to pick the link that contains the light fixtures. It could be an arc model. In this case, it's a separate breakout lighting model.
hmm
Click on lighting fixtures. And then down here, you would specify type mapping. And type mapping, for the purpose of this recording, allows the MEP model to specify an AMA fixture for each of the architecture fixtures, so that when we copy monitor them in, we get our fixture in the same location as theirs. Now what I like here is that the lighting consultant named all of theirs correctly.
hmm
And what I can do is I can go here and I can just type in LD
hmm
and it'll find it for me. And then I tab down, I can type LB. And in this case, they have an LB fixture and we have all these different types. So we just picked one for now. But what I like is I don't have to drop down, scroll, select.
Yeah, you
I
just
can
type and go.
Yep, type and go. LA, okay. And then you just go through the list and you do that. And you save
Okay.
and close. Now, another thing that I noticed was that one of the features that I started to use was if I don't have a fixture created,
hmm
I
Don't
will-
copy that type.
don't copy this type, correct?
Yeah.
And
I've
not
seen that
copy
with,
the
like-
original type.
Yeah, I've seen that with like some pendant cans, like some downlight stuff that I think it just comes out of the box and they just leave it in their project. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
I do the same thing for electrical fixtures, like all the data types. I just say don't copy these.
Yep. Or cash registers or things like that.
hmm
Something to note is when you're doing the translation process on the lighting model or even on the architectural model, to do a purge, to specifically get rid of light fixtures which are in their template or project but aren't placed. So that when you do this portion of it, how do I know that these are all real? This is just showing me linked, not placed.
Right.
So
Things that exist.
These are in their model but not necessarily placed.
hmm
If I did a purge, it would get rid of all the non-placed ones, and I'd only be targeting the ones that are actually in the model.
So maybe that should be added to the checklist, setup checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then after you do that, you perform your copy monitor, make sure you're on the right work set,
hmm
copy monitor, and then as we've seen in the past, we've had issues with the light fixtures not showing up at the correct elevations.
hmm
And the goal here isn't to bring them to the perfect placement. Let me.
Yeah, it's more like a make it visible, right? Like as
Yep,
long
we
as
just
can
need to
see.
get them within the correct view range.
Right.
Um, okay, so white is the architects and orange are ours. And you
Mhm.
can see that they have a couple different elevations here. I don't
Mhm.
need mine to be at those elevations. I just need them to be in that sweet spot in the view range so that I see them on my plan.
Right.
That's all that I care about.
hmm
Right.
And I think engineers will also let us know if like we miss it, like if it's like sitting there and they're like, hey, I don't see this fixture, I can't circuit it. Like
Yep.
we'll know
Yep.
what happened.
And at this point, I go to 3D.
hmm
Even though these are all our same, types, some of them have a level and a host, and some of them don't.
And that's based on what the architect did.
Yep. And if I select two different types, I notice that I get a bunch of different values.
hmm
I've tried in the past to holistically just take everything and say, here's the offset, but that doesn't work because some have different reference
Yep.
levels, hosts, elevations. The best thing to do is to do one type and to do a select all of those,
hmm
and then to pick the offsets from there.
Okay.
All right. You'll notice that this has an offset of 0. This has some of them have an offset of 15 and no host, so it's type to type.
So when you just change the offset, does that throw the coordination alert?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to be because otherwise, like rather than trying to do offsets like what I've done in the past, I'll just go ahead.
What's critical here is that Oh, these were manually placed, which is why we're not getting a coordination review. This one is monitored.
Hmm.
All right, so when I change this, I get this, and it's imperative that before you move on to the next task, as soon as you get all the lights lined up, that you perform that coordination review to
And
clear out.
yeah, accept that difference.
Yep.
So in the past, I've done just sort of like a front view in 3D, and I just bring anything that falls outside of whatever my eyeballs tell me the right range should be just into line, you know?
Yeah. And then what I do is I just do a confirmation by going to the lighting plan and
Mhm.
making sure that I'm seeing everything.
Yep.
And as I go through, maybe I don't see any, and I look at the type from the background. I will go to the family type for
Hmm.
LF in this case, and I'll do a select all instances and project, and we'll take a look at what our elevation settings are, and I'll just play with them
Hmm.
until I get them right. I'll perform the coordination review again to clear out the warnings,
Hmm.
and I move on to the next one.
Yep. Okay.
I cannot believe how
Whoa.
much circuiting these guys have done. I just finished this an hour ago.
You know, that wholesale circuiting when you can just grab everything and add it to a circuit, it's very nice.
These
Yeah, like all those are
guys,
E33s. Like that's like a
that's going to be
box
a problem.
select.
All
What
right,
all
but
of
that's
it,
for a different discussion. So
all of the
just
tags.
to recap, um, take the template, edit the family,
Hmm.
export the type catalog, open in Excel, copy the information, save as CSV, rename the CSV file, move the CS to a text file, take the text file, the family file, put them in the project specific folder, head over to that project, delete the light fixture family, load in the project specific one, bring in all the types, perform the type mapping, copy monitor, change the elevations, clear out coordination alerts, and you're
Okay,
all good. Sync up.
that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of steps when I do that, but
I
that's what
could.
it is. And I think it's a hell of a lot faster than us placing these, managing the moves, creating new types,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
manually
Yeah.
risking entering information incorrectly.
Well, basically, we are creating the new types. It's just we're doing it wholesale from an Excel file rather than adding them one by one and typing in the voltage and preload
Yep.
values. So,
Yep.
so it is that same sort of process, just made better.
Yeah, there's no human interaction. We're copying from a light fixture family fixture schedule provided by a lighting consultant or by the engineer, so the CAD department doesn't have the liability of entering the information incorrectly. And
Hmm.
furthermore, um, if we get new types or if information changes, what do we do at that point?
Well, we could just update the text file again and then reload it. Like, would that like what if they like add
Yep.
or
Nope,
like.
that's correct. But the process in that case would be us taking the lookup table, opening in Excel, doing all the delimited information,
Mhm.
changing the information, saving it as a CSV, changing the text file back, and then reloading that. Is that faster than going in here, and changing this? It depends,
Yeah. Well, I
right?
mean, if they're adding new types, like it's going to be faster depending on how many types they do. It's always contextual. But
Correct.
but we would be able to then like because you would have to redo the type mapping once you reload that again,
Yep.
and then
So
maybe we could just purge and get rid of
for
anything we
another
don't need.
discussion, but this is
Right.
just to ta cover this whole agenda.
Hmm.
All right, good deal.
Yeah. Very good deal.
Thanks for your time. I'm gonna probably post this to our YouTube account,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks.